Is it Mikolas or Mikolas?
You gotta go by Mikolas. Miles Mikolas is like a Peter Parker ripoff. Miles Mikolas is like a guy who owns a yacht and summers in Santorino. I don't know why he would go by Mikolas. I'm Hannah Kaiser, and this is The Bandwagon.
Yeah!
Last week, we attempted to sum up an off-season so singularly dystopian that it turned our collective understanding of time into a funhouse mirror for the fourth dimension. Remember March? How it was 15 months long and 57 years ago, and yet if I told you that we were already past the high point of summer and the days are getting shorter and shorter, it would suddenly feel like your life is flying by at the speed of a Five for Fighting song. No, just me? Does anybody else think about 100 years all the time? But of course, Major League Baseball isn't going to let a poorly contained plague stand in the way of a lucrative postseason. To get there, they'll need to squeeze 60 spittleless games into 66 days. And so, ahead of that strange sprint of a season, I am here to tell you 5 things to root for in baseball this year, despite how ill-advised the entire operation might seem. Number 1, that it works. Even the ambitious, well-meaning, detailed down to the diagram, we have pictures 101 pages on how to play baseball in the time of coronavirus has big, glaring gaps through which I'm pretty sure a pathogen or two can pass. It's certainly better to not swill and spit giant packs of smokeless tobacco around your unmasked pals during a pandemic, and I appreciate the kind of forethought that went into officially condoning pitchers keeping wet rags in their pockets. But frankly, the inherent lag between testing and results in conjunction with the everyday nature of the sport is risky. Traveling around the country, in and out of COVID hotspots, all while interacting with hotel staff and the general public, is risky. And the risk is that people will get sick. That doesn't mean I want this to fail. It means I really think it might. But every day that they are scheduled to play baseball in this country, I will be holding my breath, rooting to be wrong, rooting for this to work. Number 2, chaos. The kind that shows up in the standings and the stats over a small sample size. A short season doesn't actually change which teams are stacked and which ones are the Tigers. The smart pick over 60 games is the same one you would have made back in February. But the success of the Dodgers, Yankees, or any other juggernaut is going to be a little unsatisfying if they only have 37% of the season to flex, which makes it the perfect year to take a page out of Jay Jaffe's book and Bandwagon, Team Entropy. Maximum weirdness. Multi-way division ties forcing multiple game 61, games 61, game 61s. I would like a World Series winner that plunges the entire sport into an existential debate about the very nature of legitimacy or being good at baseball. The Marlins have been training to play in an empty stadium for years, just waiting for the moment when that becomes a competitive advantage. And if the Orioles aren't playing in October, it better be because they only won like a dozen games all summer. All of the seemingly untouchable record for rate stats are suddenly up for grabs. Somebody better thaw Ted Williams and get him a bat back in his cryogenically preserved hands to defend his title as the last guy to hit 400. Number 3, a pitcher gets a hit. Right now, Miles Mikolas stands as the last pitcher to get a hit in a major league game. I hate hitting, he said recently. So okay, maybe not my strongest ally in this take, but that's all the more reason to give another guy a shot at the history books. Whether it's a botched double switch or just Torey Lovullo losing a staring contest with Madison Bumgarner, I hope we get at least one more pitcher hit. Hell, I'll settle for a plate appearance. Number 4, innovative broadcast initiatives. I'll be first in line to read about the enterprising stadium sound engineer who turns up the automated boos when the Astros are in town. But otherwise, I do not need a soundtrack like a rain stick on tape delay emphasizing the uncanny valley of pandemic baseball. Empty stadiums are a chilling reminder of the context for the 2020 season. They're also a wide open stage, hopefully to overhear some heckling between dugouts, but also for more officially sanctioned sights and sounds. Summer camp has already seen the use of catcher cams and mic'd up players.
Wow, your man is back, baby.
Even without a deal between MLB and the PA, I hope players recognize the entertainment value in continuing these initiatives. Number 5, dudes who are my guys! The player I become irrationally invested in. It's pretty much the premise of this whole show that periodically a dude will enter the pantheon of being one of my guys. Ahead of 2020, I wanted to update the record with some of the dudes who are my guys this year. Dustin May, the 22-year-old rookie, was a late season call-up last year, but stands to potentially have a bigger impact for the literally guaranteed to be dominant Dodgers. His current nickname is Ginger Guard for reasons, but at 6'6" and 180 pounds with the, this is not sarcastic, poise of a deer who is also the principal dancer of the Bolshoi Ballet, I am starting a campaign to re-nickname him Dustin May the Legs. Dustin the Legs May? How are you going to do that? Andrew McCutchen and his alter ego, Uncle Larry. Kutch hasn't played a full season anywhere since 2017, which means fans might have forgotten that he is consistently putting in the work to be your favorite former MVP turned class clown with enough swag to still be the coolest kid in school.
Knock, knock. Who's there? The Uncle Larry. The Uncle Larry who? The Uncle that's about to whoop you.
Yu Darvish will strike you out with 10 different pitches and roast you on Twitter in 2 different languages. Pitches include an effective EFIS and his soon-to-be-released Supreme, which I hope is a transparent attempt to land a collab with the Hypebeast brand. And some of his roasts have been in the oven for up to 18 months, waiting for the perfectly timed deployment. Mike Yastrzemski deserves to be more than just a double take on a lineup. Viewers should follow beautiful baby intergalactic bounty hunter Bo Bichette wherever the Blue Jays end up playing, and that we never talk enough about how Ruben Amaro Jr. went from GM to base coach, but now that he's a broadcaster, which might actually be the right role for him. Yes, Ruben Amaro Jr. is one of the dudes who are my guys. And forever, friend of the show, Max Scherzer.
Friend of the show.
All right, let's do fan, not a fan.
Yeah.
First one of the year.
Players in the stands.
Because there are no spectators in the stadiums right now, baseball players have been sitting in the stands to watch each other play baseball. It makes actual baseball players look like baseball fans who wear a full uniform to go to a game of a really bad team, which is why they're all alone. This also sort of goes with the innovative broadcast initiatives, because it's got to be an opportunity for something. They should race each other in between innings or something like that. There should be a simulcast of a scavenger hunt taking place around the ballpark for every guy who's been pulled out of the game.
Fan or not a fan?
Oh, fan.
Cardboard cutout fans.
So when there's not baseball players who've been removed from the game in the stands, there are cardboard cutouts of people in the stands. On its face, fine. High bar, though. You can do some weird JD Davis and Michael Conforto of the Mets are, I think, pranking each other by getting cardboard cutouts of embarrassing photos of each other. I don't know. This is cool. I'm a fan. I don't know that your dog needs to be there. There have been some dogs.
The NBA bubble.
The NBA is playing in a bubble in Disney World. That sounds amazing. I would like to be in a bubble. I don't understand why everyone isn't signing up to go to the NBA bubble. It's 95 degrees outside and I gotta wear a mask anywhere I go. And these guys, we've created a hermetically sealed, necessarily safe space in which you can at least walk down the hallway without having to put a face mask on. I understand that they're away from their families and that sounds very sad, but it's not that long. You're only playing the postseason, right? Playoffs? They call it the playoffs in basketball. Hell yeah, fan of the bubble. Baseball should have looked into it.
Chico the Dodgers Clubbie.
The Dodgers Clubbie Chico made headlines for getting to appear in the outfield in some of their inter-squad games in summer camp before they start playing real opponents. And this seems so cool and fun and what a heartwarming tale of how half the Dodgers lineup is out with coronavirus or else because they have to be quarantining because they came in contact with coronavirus and LA has stricter quarantine protocols than the league does. This is not good. It's sort of we didn't have enough baseball players to fill out a roster because they're all home quarantining with a deadly disease. Not a fan. Do not get your heartwarming jollies off with this story.
Poor Chico. Everything is cake.
Have you guys seen these videos where everything is cake?
That's why we're asking.
Prove you're not cake. Prove you're not cake.
These cakes are bad, first of all. Fondant tastes like stale chewing gum. So from a cake perspective, not a fan. From a viral video perspective, I would watch these on an endless loop forever. Fan. And now, it's time for Humble Proposal. The Black Lives Matter protest sparked by the police killing of George Floyd forced an overdue and unavoidable conversation in Major League Baseball about the sport's declining popularity and participation among African Americans, and about the evidence of inequality or even overt racism on the field, in the front offices, and among the fan bases. It's about time. Baseball, especially compared to other major sports, has been reluctant to engage with issues of social justice, referencing Jackie Robinson as a source of triumph and not a standard to uphold. The only player to kneel during a regular season national anthem has been out of affiliated ball since 2018. The league took 9 days after Floyd's death to put out a tepid public statement, the last of the major professional sports leagues. ESPN's Howard Bryant detailed the response of black players in the game today and those who have recently retired. How they feel sorry for not having spoken up to support Bruce Maxwell when he knelt in 2017. How they're mobilizing to do more now in the form of the Players Alliance. But the problem isn't the black players who are right to be afraid that agitation might cost them their careers. It's the predominantly white culture and clubhouses that made them feel that way. The racial inequality in baseball is a white player, white spectator, white executive problem, and it's going to require proactive engagement with the issues and a willingness to hold each other accountable to address it. There have already been a handful of powerful examples recently of white players doing just that. It's time for others to step up.
Yeah. Nice.
You are watching this episode while I am down in Washington, D.C. for opening day 2020, unless they did not approve my credential or my hotel. Oh, it did? Okay, good. Go on and book in a hotel right now. I gotta book hotels.